Okay, so you've already seen an example of how to use the FBX format to export your assets from Softimage and get them into Unity. I'm going to follow the same exact technical procedure, if you will, to get the rest of the assets that we worked on in this training product over to Unity as well. I just want to see how they look. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here to Crosswalk, Export FBX. I'm going to call this panel. And all this stuff looks good. I'm going to go with selection only over here. Turn off the stuff I don't need. Hit OK. If I go over here and I check out my browser, check out my models directory, I have a whole bunch of files. You notice that I have some FBX files. I've actually already gone ahead and exported some of the objects. And what I'm going to do is jump back into Unity, into this test scene that we were playing around with a little bit earlier. And I'm going to import the other stuff in. So let me open up File Explorer here. And I'm going to go to Models. And I want to import some of these FBX files. So the broken wall, the building, cable, and the panel. And it's just as simple as drag and drop. And I like to organize this stuff, so I'll drop it into the Meshes folder. And for the panel here, I'm going to drop that into the Meshes folder. So here's my Meshes folder. I want to go in here to the FBX importer options, and I want to make sure that my scale factor is set to 1. Just don't want to get any weird surprises and things like that. So I'll go with this one. I'll set it to 1 as well. Okay, so it should be set to 1, 1. And this one as well. We'll set that to 1. Hit apply, and we're good. I want to also import some textures. So I'm going to come back to my File Explorer over here. Go to Pictures. I want to bring in some of this stuff. This stuff up here is already in. If I go to here, I want to bring in all of this stuff over here. So I'll bring in all of this stuff. And I'm going to just drop it into the Texture Maps folder. I want to make sure that I go to anything that's a normal map and tell Unity to import it as a normal map. It might try to turn on this Generate from Grayscale option. Make sure you check that off or it'll ruin your normal map. So texture, normal map, texture, texture, texture. This guy here, we actually don't need this texture. So go ahead and delete that from the Unity project there. Just these are the ones that we're going to be using here. Actually, this rebar one, we can get rid of that one. We actually don't need that one. Let me jump back over here. I also want to bring in these two files, Exterior Street Wall A and Bump. So I'll drag and drop that stuff into my Texture Maps folder. Let me take this one. It's a texture. That's fine. This one over here is a normal map. So let's set that to normal map. Also, I'll increase the max size to 2K, just so it looks a little bit higher quality, and we can really see what this looks like at high quality. So let me import this other one too. Let me change the file size here. Obviously, if it's bigger, it's going to look a lot better. Okay, so I brought that in, and finally, let's just set up the materials here. So the broken wall, for example, I'm going to change this to maybe a bump specular. Will look pretty good. And for the texture here, it's going to be the warehouse int wall I and the bump as well. And that should pretty much do it. So let me actually take this object, drop it into our scene. Obviously, it's way too big. So we're going to scale it down. I'm going to rotate this guy around a little bit. Put him back over here. So this is good for just viewing items and seeing how they look in Engine. So let me bring in this building object over here, and obviously it's going to be way too big as well. And let me scale it down. So I'm going to go ahead and set this stuff up. I'm going to skip ahead in the video. I think you get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and just set this stuff up, place it in the scene here, and apply the materials and all that stuff. So let me do that real quick. Alright, so I pretty much finished this up, placed some objects around, and added a couple of lights over here so we could see this. So if I go ahead and play this real quick, you can see what it looks like. Once we look at something like this, for example, you can see it that depth modeling that we did using the texture for reference really made a huge difference. Same for this wall over here, which we did a similar technique. You can see that those cracks in the walls have a lot of depth to them and look a lot more realistic because it's not just based on texture maps, it's actual real geometry. Well, so that's pretty much it.